Hello, my dear audiences. Welcome to my show, Jack Chow on the East West with G&E TV. Smog is a big word that's shared almost everywhere on the global planet. Especially now when you see the smog problem in Beijing, in major cities in China, and the concern is raised to a very high elevation. And of course, as an industrial country, as a developing country, you can't do it, do your development without having to cause something, but there's something as a silver lining in between to be discussed. So with me today is my good friend and a huge support of my backbone, Dr. Jim Shi, is here to share his knowledge on in this area. We know Dr. Shi is not a specialist in this very specific subject, but he, in his area, has touched some of that. So welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you on the program.
Right. And I believe we're honored to have you here, especially consider the fact of driving from all the way from Thousand Oaks all the way to West Covina.
Right.
That's quite a distance.
By driving over here, I contribute to the smog as well.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that too, right? Okay, very good. All right, good. So first question, and the concern is getting greater and greater. Almost even kids know about it, right? Yeah. So what exactly caused it?
Yeah, okay, smog, let's first look at the word, S-M-O-G, smog. Smog comes from a combination of two words, fog and smoke. So we know there's a fog is basically water vapor reaching a certain level. So we all know in the air, we always talk about humidity. So that means how much water vapor is contained in the air. That's humidity. But when humidity reaches more than 100%, meaning it's saturated, and we know water exists in three forms. There's a liquid form, which is water, and that can be also in gas form, that is water vapor. And it can be in solid state, which is ice.
I see.
So what happens is when water evaporates, it reaches in the air, and when it becomes saturated and the water accumulates into little droplets, and millions of particles of water droplets makes fog. So that's how fog is formed.
The water droplet sucks the dirt, what?
The dust, yes, of course, dust. Now, then let's look at the smoke. Smoke is basically a mixture of particles and gases. So when the word smog was coined I believe in the early last century, I guess the mainly problem was observed in London when they have the industrialization, when they burn lots of fossil fuel and lots of particulate matter, which is the word PM comes from. PM meaning particulate matter.
Oh, I used to think about PM as a ppm, part per million.
No,
that's not that, right?
No, not that. That's
I see.
PM meaning particulate matter.
I see.
You know, small particles suspended in the
Particle
air.
matters.
And then when their diameter, the size, reaches 2.5 microns, so it's called a PM 2.5.
I see.
When the particle size reaches 10 microns, they are called PM 10.
I see.
So as you see, when the particulate matter, PMs, reaches in the air, if they meet with water vapor, or with the water droplets,
yes.
They kind of combine together, and they form more stable structure. And even the microorganisms, such as bacteria and virus, they could also be suspended in air and make part of the PM.
So the PM 2.5 as versus PM10, are we saying that the larger the diameter, the better for health? Because that prevents getting into your nose or something, or if you have a particle this big, of course, you don't want to worry about it.
Particles of rock size, you don't worry about this.
You don't worry about it, right?
So what's the problem is when the PM, particulate matter, reaches a fine diameter, they tend to be more stable in the air. And also that's the other problem is human lungs will easily absorb these particles into the small structures. So these will be more readily available for breathing into your lungs. That causes potential health hazard.
I see.
So there's lots of evidence suggesting that the smaller particles, especially PM 2.5 and below, they are closely related to lung cancer and to other health hazards. So that's why the problem is bigger when the particulate matter is smaller.
So when you suck the air, you take the inhale, you have filtrations, right?
That's right. So
Yeah, in the system.
So
can't stop it?
your nostril hair can block the big particles, and then some small particles, when they get into your trachea, which is the tube, the breathing tube, and the membrane on the breathing tube forms another layer of defense. Because the small particles will then be pushed out of the breathing tube,
Which makes you cough.
the mucus, which makes you cough, and you spit out the secretions, so you get rid of those particles. But when the particles gets even smaller, it gets into the basic unit of the lung, which is called alveoli. The tiny bubble structure in your lung that actually performs a gas exchange.
I see.
So when you're breathing in oxygen, it goes through the alveoli, it gets absorbed into your blood, and your CO2 will be diffused from the blood into the alveoli, which is the small bubbles, and then it gets breathed out.
So it does get to the blood?
Then small, tiny particles, particle per se may not be into the blood, but as we say, in the particles, there are also other chemicals.
Oh, I see.
So those chemicals can be very toxic.
The chemicals they carry, the particles carry.
can carry lots of chemicals.
I see.
So these chemicals will be related with cancer, for example, or other health hazards. For example, if you have asthma, you may actually breathe more difficulty.
I see.
Have more difficulties in breathing.
I see.
Because these irritates your breathing system and cause you having difficulties in breathing.
How do you compare, doctor, in between the smog inhale as versus smoking?
Yeah, that's a good question. In the smog,
which is worse?
It's both, and both are bad.
I know both are bad, but which is worse?
What I can tell you is, with the campaign of cutting down smoking, people actually are smoking a lot less nowadays than, for example, 20 years ago. But look at the statistics. Lung cancer prevalence is still increasing. So that speaks for what? For the fact that the smog and the air pollution is getting a lot worse.
That speaks for smokers.
For smokers, it's a good thing if they cut smoking, but that's not all of it.
And also,
it doesn't give you excuse
yeah,
to keep
and
smoking.
say it's also the excuse. I was exactly going to say so. Yeah, okay. Even if I stop smoking, I'm still sucking the smog.
Right. So as we come back to the smog definition, as we say, the smog part comes from fog, part from the smoke. And the smoke is a very kind of vague term, because it can contain particulate matter and it can contain chemicals. Now, smoke is something comes from nature as well. for example, if you have volcano eruption,
Yeah.
you would have smog. You
Yeah,
have,
you're right. Yeah.
smoke in the air, and you have chemicals, and then also, for example, we all, if you go to the countryside, you notice the farmers sometimes they burn the hay.
Yeah,
or
they burn
straws,
the haze. Yes.
straws, and they just for to make a fertilizer for the
Yeah,
field,
yeah,
or sometimes just to keep the field from being frozen, to protect the crops.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do that to warm up the air.
Yeah, you're right.
But these all create smoke.
They all do.
But this is different from the modern day
I see.
industry
I see.
caused
All right.
smoke.
Okay, very good. My dear audience, we thank Dr. Xu for the very thorough analysis, and this analysis will give us understanding, to me, as an education about what is the PM 2.5. We know that, and also as a side effect, I know, Rel, smoking is not a major problem. Okay, don't take me too serious.
right.
I'm joking. All right.
Doesn't give you excuse
Yeah, no,
to
no,
not
no, no.
smoke-
Stop
to keep
smoking.
smoking.
Stop. Don't follow me. All right. Okay. Anyway, let's take a short break. When we come out, come back, we really want to find out what exactly causes the problem. In other words, I know it's a combination of everything, but what is a major? What takes a major criticism, call it that way, to cause the problem? So we'll be right back, please. I'm joined today by Dr. Jim Xu. So we'll be right back.